Yep, that's right, I wasn't a big fan. But before we get into things, let me get a few caveats out the way first. Now, I've never really thought of myself as a journalist, so having to formally review a car after a few hours of driving it isn't really my forte. Originally, I wanted to do a comparison piece between my 540C and the new 720S, but because of a few logistical reasons, I couldn't do that. So, I just kind of had to go with my gut and try and do a review piece. Now, I'm fully aware that if I'd driven the car for a few more days, or even a few more hours, my opinions probably would have changed, and my points probably would have been more eloquent. Secondly, I'm also aware that these days I'm incredibly spoiled when it comes to driving amazing cars. It was only a few weeks ago I was lucky enough to drive a bloody Ferrari F40, so my gauge on what makes me like a car is totally skew bloody whiff. But finally, to take some of the pressure off my own shoulders, I'm going to be honest and say I don't think that the road route McLaren chose for the 720S showed off the car in its best light. From an outside point of view, it felt like the main focus of the event was the track driving, which took place at Avila circuit near Rome. Everyone I asked said that's where the car blew them away. However, the day we attended, the track had been booked for a motorbike track day. Nothing McLaren could do about that, but it meant that we would only be driving the 720S on the road. Initially, I was like, that's bloody perfect, because that's kind of where I want to test out the car. But the roads in Italy, and especially around Rome, are in awful condition. Bumpy, narrow, unpredictable, and most of all, very, very twisty. You think that'd be a good thing, but as you're about to find out, in my mind, the 720S is all about speed, and the roads we were directed to weren't exactly made for high speed. Anyway, enough beating around the bush. Hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. Here is why I personally didn't really like the new McLaren 720S. Right, so where do we start with a car like the McLaren 720S? I honestly don't know, there was so much to talk about with this thing, but I'm actually going to kick things off with the air conditioning, which I'm not sure is that great. It's about 25 or 26 degrees Celsius today, but I'm sweating like a fat kid in an ice cream store, which is essentially what I am, a fat kid in an ice cream store, because today is like all of my sweets have come at once. There you go, a few motorcyclists giving me a huge thumbs up. This car is getting a lot of attention and a lot of respect here in Italy. Usually it's only Ferraris or Lamborghinis that get even a glance, but today this car is going down incredibly well. I want to kick things off with a few facts and stats because, as I say, on paper, this is a baby hypercar. A baby hypercar. It's been in development since 2013. It is 91% new part over the 650S, which it's replacing. And that is the key thing. This is not an update, this is not a facelift, it is an entirely new car. Also, we are driving around sort of North Rome near the Vallelunga motor circuit in Italy, and the roads here are atrocious. Atrocious. I think McLaren brought us here to really show off just how capable this car is with its new suspension and as being a sort of GT car. Because as I say, this is being positioned as a sort of, your everyday supercar. It's got the performance that will annihilate most things on track and on the road, but it's an incredible cruiser, and my God, is it an incredible cruiser. These glass panels that are everywhere make this cabin such a nice place to be. A bit of a glass house, I'll admit, hence the sweat and rouge face. But it's just a really, really welcoming environment. And apart from these really bumpy roads, most of the time the ride is so silky smooth. The car is set up to run in sort of sport by default. Now, instead of normal, you can actually turn the car down to comfort. So in my car, you have normal sport track. Here, you're always in sport unless you put the active panel on and turn down into comfort, which probably would have been advisable for this road because it is as pimply as my face was when I was 14 years old. Oh! I don't know if you can see, but it physically kicks you in the back when you shift up a gear. Oh! So in sport, they have engineered some extra emotion. Something McLarens have always been dissed, from the street for, is their lack of sort of emotion when driving, this disconnect. It's something that Ferrari drivers and Lamborghini drivers always talk about. Oh my God, it speaks to me, hey! Whilst McLaren was almost about sort of, you know, real engineering performance. And I felt that with the 650S. The 720S in sport mode is a hell of a lot of fun. It really makes you smile because you get those kicks. It is mind-bendingly quick. I don't know how to explain how quick this car is. This must be one of the quickest cars on the road today. It has done exactly what McLaren wanted to do and moved the supercar sector on a whole nother level. It's mind-blowing, and I didn't know these speeds were possible. The brakes are fantastic. Oh, there's that sport kick.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. I thought he said he didn't like the car. I realise to this point I've been pretty damn positive about the 720S, and that is because it is an amazing car. But as you're about to find out, there are some reasons why I personally didn't like it.
I have been driving around being blown away by the performance, there are a number of negatives that I did actually want to talk about, because I don't actually like how quick it is. I know that's a really, really weird thing to say, and it definitely says more about me as a person than it does about the car, but this car feels too complete. I don't think that's going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but it's so good at everything it does. It doesn't bore me, but it underwhelms me a bit. I think my expectations were so incredibly high for this car. I didn't know what I expected, but I expected it to completely change my entire outlook on cars. It's changed my understanding of how fast a car can be, but like this, cruising around in traffic or looking out the window, it's just a very nice car. And I think personally, I like things to be a bit more silly, a bit more unpredictable. That's a big bump. It's just a bit too good, and I know that's a really weird thing to say, and I can't really explain it because I've spent a morning with this car now, and whilst when I accelerate, it recalibrates my brain to understand what speed is, I get out of it and I don't go, oh, I can't wait to get back in, oh my God, I want to spend the whole afternoon driving the 720. I'm just like, yeah, it's really quick. And because for me, I still haven't fallen in love with the looks, even though they've grown on me today, I don't know, it's just not a car that I'm lusting after. And I think in my head, I fully expected to completely fall in love with this thing. We've all been talking about it on the road trip, myself, Paul, James, Seb, how we were almost nervous about how good this car was going to be, because we're going to be like, well, all of our cars are going to be awful. Every car we drive is going to be awful compared to the 720S. And whilst in performance terms that's probably true, I don't think I really want one. As I say, I'm fully aware that this is more about me and what I want and what I look for in a car. But there is something to be said for over-engineering something. We were looking at a graph of where McLaren sees the 720S, and they really stretch it as far as the 570 GT in terms of its GT capabilities, right all the way through to a 675 LT. I just think it could be a bit more crap. Does that make sense? Probably not. Oh, it's so quick though. It is so quick. Woo!
So, in summary, I think if you've got £200,000 that you're looking to spend on a supercar, the 720S is the best car for that money. Heck, it's the best car for 6 times that money. But the question is it the car you want for that money? Whilst the 720S is so capable in every area, personally, I think I'd prefer to go for a car which is perfect in one area and kind of crap in all the others. I feel like it might potentially be a little bit more exciting, a little bit more exhilarating. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you subscribe for plenty more videos to come.